So as some of you guys will know, this, the ULEZ Files, was my debut novel. It's a full-on action thriller. And I just thought what I'll do in this video is give you a little read of just say the beginning of it, see what you think of it. And also just to make the point that this is an action thriller. Because some people look at the ULEZ Files and they thought maybe it's a factual discussion. It's actually very little to do with ULEZ. It actually was set next year. Actually, it's set in 2026, even though I published it in 2023. And it was the advent of another draconian legislation coming out against motoring in the UK. But I wanted to hook it on the fact that it was a sort of a spin-off from the whole ULEZ expansion thing that happened in 2023. So anyway, let me read you a little bit of it and let me know what you think of it.
A brown car guy. Brown car guy.
The rain-slicked streets of London gleamed under the glow of the streetlights, casting ephemeral reflections of hurried pedestrians trying to stay dry, but failing. Silent taxis splashed past. Max Turner stood alone, leaning against one of the huge plinths sat on top of which was one of Landseer's enormous bronze lions guarding Nelson's column at Trafalgar Square. His trademark brown leather jacket, its patina deepened by the soaking, hung open, revealing a grey t-shirt above classic blue jeans. His grim face was a mosaic of a checkered past, the hard lines softened by the healing passage of time. His deep-set eyes peered into the night, searching for elusive answers to silent questions, while a lean, unburdened posture suggested a man finally hoping to be at ease with himself. The motoring journalist and content creator was on the cusp of his 40s, still sporting a full head of dark hair, just about, his features more engaging than conventionally handsome. The easy grin that had once been a staple of his influencer persona was now reserved, a reflection of a more introspective self. His jaw, set with a blend of determination and vulnerability, spoke of a man who had faced his demons. His fading worry lines hinted at recent chapters of therapy and healing, of traumas acknowledged and the quiet hope that stirred in contemplating new horizons. He embraced the rain's cathartic properties, let it soak him through, hoping to be refreshed and renewed. Yet beneath this hopeful veneer, he braced for a final reckoning with the remnants of a not-so-distant, turbulent past. There was yet a painful echo of failed endeavors still to face. His gaze returned to the illuminated screen of his smartphone. He pulled down on the display to refresh it again for the 100th or so time, awaiting what he knew would be an inevitable headline. The story hadn't yet broken. It was all a stark reminder of the public battles he had engaged in, the personal conflicts he had wrestled with, the freedom and rights he had championed, and the unexpected cost it had all had on him. Why was he back here? Because ULEZ, the so-called Ultra Low Emission Zone. Trafalgar Square was a site where so many anti-ULEZ expansion protests had taken place, protests that some had callously dismissed as fruitless and pointless wasted efforts. He disagreed. He'd been to most of them. The passion and emotion he'd witnessed, the painful stories he had heard, had had an impact on him, on his audience, on the world at large. 4 years ago, ULEZ had expanded from central and inner London to the whole of the English capital city under the orders of the then mayor of London, Khalid Sadiq. From being neatly bound in by the north and south circular roads, it expanded to a jagged, ill-defined border, in some places reaching out as far as the M25, London's orbital motorway. Nearly 6 million additional people now found their cars were subjected to strict emission regulations as ULEZ expanded from the 225 square miles to over 600 square miles, marking London the biggest low-emission zone project in the planet. A precedent? A moment of national pride? A chance to lead the world in striving for cleaner, healthier air for urban living? Maybe. That is, if people had been given time to adapt, to find the funds to trade up to newer, cleaner cars, to adjust to altered lifestyles, and to see an improved public transport network in outer London where, frankly, it remained abysmal. But none of this had happened, and people had been left flailing close to financial disaster as their daily drivers transformed from essential everyday runabouts to redundant relics of past roving freedoms. ULEZ had been enforced on the populace, still reeling from the cost of living crisis brought on by the economic upheaval inflicted on the UK by the twin hammer blows of Brexit and the unilateral pausing of the economy thanks to COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic. I'm going to jump ahead at this point. He reached into his inside jacket pocket and pulled out an envelope, not minding the raindrops hitting it because he knew exactly what was in it. He'd read it dozens of times. Pulling out the letter from within, Max glanced down at it again. An offer letter. He hadn't had one of those in years. It was nice that some people still sent out physical letters in addition to emails. Classy touch, that. Yes, an actual offer letter. An offer to a fresh start. An offer to a new life in a new place. An offer to get back to doing what Max loved doing the most, creating car content. An offer to head up a new automotive outlet in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. More crucially then, an offer to move to a place that was still very much in love with the car and did not just outright hate the automobile and motorists, particularly enthusiastic motorists, as London evidently now did. And potentially, sadly, not just London either. Stamped on the missive in his hand was his beacon of hope, a chance to leave behind the turmoil that had so pummeled his mental health. So why was he here? At Trafalgar Square, the same square where he had once stood defiantly against the tide of ULEZ restrictions. Admiral Lord Nelson towered above, anchored by his column to this iconic place, but unlike Nelson, Max felt adrift in a city that was veering off course, its priorities askew, its values compromised. Trafalgar is derived from the Arabic Trafalgar, or Cape of the Cave. He imagined standing on that cape, finally having stepped out of the cave and eagerly staring out to sea, to new horizons, to new adventures. Perhaps he'd come here for closure, but it was time to move on. As Max strengthened his resolve to let go, the rain intensified, as if the very sky shared his inner frustrations and conflicts. The raindrops ran down his face, echoing the tears shed when the mayor's triumph mocked the multitude that rallied against the restrictions. The people would be back, but he'd be gone. With any luck, before road charging arrived. Max would be sitting behind the wheel of a V8 muscle car, off the leash and ready to ravage a desert road, reveling in unfettered and rampant combustion power. Max could almost hear the hot engine roar and smell his tires smoking. Just as he peeled his soaking back off the plinth, his phone lit up again. An anonymous WhatsApp message. "Stop, Max Turner. Stay where you are and accept the following airdrop." What the? Before he could even fully react, the airdrop message appeared, the accept button awaiting his thumb. His thumb, however, hovered over the decline button, the instinctually correct thing to do with any unsolicited messages. But he was hesitating. The message addressed him by name appeared to know where he was and that he was about to leave. The sender had to be close by to use airdrop. Max looked around but couldn't see anyone who might be responsible. Another WhatsApp message appeared. "Hurry up, I haven't got much time. He's nearly here and you need to see this." Journalistic curiosity kicked in at that point. Hitting accept saw a flood of files download onto the phone. Letters to and from the mayor's office, funding authorizations to academic institutes, confidentiality agreements related to the ULEZ expansion from 3 years ago. Part of Max frankly wanted to resist looking at them. The sensible part of his brain wanted to type and send "not interested" to the anonymous sender. And yet he found himself lingering on the files, wondering if there was really something there, something he hadn't seen before, or something he didn't already know. Suddenly there was a whipping sound and a sharp crack above his head. He swung around and looked up just in time to see a figure tumble down towards him from the line's plinth. It must have been the person sending him the files. This is how they were close enough to make airdrop work. But why were they falling? Max feebly outstretched his arms, to no avail. The faller slammed into him, but much to Max's relief, whoever it was either very light or very good at landing, or both. It somehow didn't feel like he was the victim of a plunging body, but instead being shoved quickly yet gently to the ground. Was that a hand cradling his head? The faller deftly bounced off and rolled to the side. It was a woman. Max parked this realization for a microsecond while doing a short mental self-diagnostic to see if any injury had occurred. Not a bump, bruise, or scratch could he register. It was time to turn his attention to his would-be assailant. "Are you okay?" he asked. She didn't answer, but she clearly was okay. The woman was crouching low, staring off into the distance, dressed all in black, wearing trainers, combat trousers, a dark jacket with an oversized hoodie that cloaked her face in semi-shadow. I think I'm going to leave it there. To read the rest, to find out what happened next, because that's where the action actually starts. That's where it all really picks up the pace and goes crazy after that. To do that, you need to get a copy of the book. It's on Amazon. Link is in the description, or you can go to browncarguy.com, find out all about it there. Check it out, go buy it, read it. If you like it, leave a review on Amazon. If you don't like it, don't leave a review, but do let me know what you thought of it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next video. Shout out time, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, if you enjoy my content, why not get involved? Buy me a coffee. You can do that at either of these links. Or if you're watching on YouTube, buy me a thanks or take out a membership. It all helps. It really does.